Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be shopping my stash again and pulling out my top 10 prettiest palettes in my collection. These all have beautiful springtime tones, so they're perfect for this time of year. And if you missed parts 1 and 2, I'll go ahead and link a playlist up at the top of the video so you can check those out as well. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So when I first decided to do a video on beautiful palettes, the first ones that came to mind were from Nabla because they have the most gorgeous color stories. This one is the Dreamy palette, and every time I open this, I'm just blown away by how pretty it is. It's just so beautiful, and it has some gorgeous transition colors in here as well. You have your regular neutral brown, then you have this peachy shade right here, which is amazing, paired with some of the warm tones. You also have a dusty lavender, which pairs so nicely with some of the purples or some of these rosy tones as well. You also have some deeper shades for deepening the crease or putting in the outer corner. This shade here is an absolutely stunning inner corner highlight. And then formula-wise, Nabla is really hard to beat. They are so buttery and rich and pigmented, yet easy to work with at the same time. Sometimes palettes that are a little too pigmented can be tricky to blend out, but these, I never have an issue with it. I feel like they're very, very user-friendly. Another beautiful selection from Nabla is the Soul Blooming palette, and this one is the sister palette to the Dreamy one. This one though is a little bit softer. It just has this really beautiful ethereal vibe to it. You have some gorgeous duochrome shades like Honey Drip and Garden Gate and also Philosophy. These look amazing on the eye, and you can use these to top any of the other shimmer shades as well. I like to put down Anemone and then top it with Garden Gate. It's a beautiful combination. And then you also have these softer kind of corally pinks over here that are just gorgeous. You have a few neutral shades in here as well. You have a couple of transition shades here and here. You also have this neutral mid-tone brown, which is great. And then over here also you have some browns. So I feel like you can do either just a neutral eye with this, or you can play with a little bit of color. And the formula is amazing, just like the Dreamy palette. And as you can see, these duochromes are just stunning, especially when they catch the light. Another palette I love to pull out this time of year is the Too Faced White Peach palette. This one did get a lot of negative reviews from people saying that the shades didn't show up on them, that it was too light overall, and I find that it is a really, really light palette. For me, having fair skin tone means that these colors do show up on me, but you kind of have to know going into this one that, you know, you're not going to get super deep dark looks. There's not a lot of mid-tone shades to speak of. Everything in the palette is really light with the exception of these two down here, which are really dark. So most of the time I'm just focusing on the rest of the palette to get a really, really soft, easy look. So you can really see when it's swatched against my skin tone how light these shades are, even against somebody who's fair like I am. Really, this shade right here I think is as deep as you're going to get for any of the mattes, and then the rest of them are quite a bit lighter than that. So just something to keep in mind, but this shade right here is amazing, again, as a highlight shade either in your inner corner or to make your lid really pop. And then this pink right here is also one of my favorites to use on the lid. This next palette really ended up surprising me. When I first got it and opened it up, it basically just looked like a regular neutral palette with a pop of purple. I wasn't expecting to love it nearly as much as I do, but I've found over the years that Zoeva just does that. They really surprise you, and some of these shades really don't look on the eyes as they do in the pan. And there's just some really absolutely stunning ones. For example, this one, Crystal Wings, it looks like it has a little bit of a greenish tint to it in the pan, but on the skin, it actually is completely different. It's like a really beautiful duochrome that has some green, but also some peachiness to it. There's just a lot of depth to the color. Also, this one from Heaven is a gorgeous duochrome as well. And Airy Dalliance as well looks so stunning as a lid color. You have Soul Unheld, which kind of has like an olivey undertone to it. It's just absolutely beautiful. And then you have Fly Solo as a great transition color if you want to do something a little more cool toned. And then World Above is a great transition shade if you want to do a warmer look, like with some of these other shades. And then you have a deeper outer corner color as well. And even this one, Gown Swirling, at first glance, it just looks like a regular matte ivory shade, but it actually has a pink shift to it with micro glitter in it. It's just stunning. So here's a look at it swatched out, and you can really see it's a lot more interesting when you see the swatches than it looks in the pan, because it's definitely not an all brown palette with a pop of purple. You can see these really beautiful warm tones down here, this olive, and then this duochrome, which is so stunning. And these are just fantastic lid shades as well if you want to do a really pretty spring look. And the formula, as always, is fantastic as well. These are so super smooth, not a lot of fallout. I think it's definitely an awesome choice for a spring palette. Next up, we have the original Noirvina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this one also just makes me think of spring. It has those beautiful soft colors, the pinks, the purples. It has some cool tones, but also some warmer tones as well. I love these down here. Again, you have that sort of mustardy yellow shade that's a great transition color, but then you also at the same time have this really cool taupey gray. You have this one Soul, which is gorgeous. You also have some beautiful lid colors. Actually, I love the way that this palette is set up because you have all of your shimmers on the top row and then all of your mattes down here. So it just makes it really easy to navigate. Lorax Pro palettes actually look the same way, and I really enjoy layouts like this. And the formula on it is so good as well. All of the shimmer shades are just so smooth and buttery. The matte shades are super blendable as well. And just swatching this palette is making me want to dig in and start playing with it all over again. Another absolutely stunning palette, and one of my favorites, is the Nude Light Obsessions palette from Huda Beauty. This one I love because every single color in here I can use. I love this lavender transition shade. It goes well with all of the different lid shades. You also have this peachy one, which I use quite often, and then this brown. I could either use it as a transition if I sheer it out, or I can deepen up the outer corner with this one as well. There's just nothing that's overwhelming for my skin tone, which is why I love this one. And the lid shades are absolutely gorgeous. They are so foiled and metallic on your eye, and you don't even have to wet them. And I just think the overall tone of this palette is perfect for my skin coloring. Even though I do like the medium and the deep one as well, this one I feel like it just couldn't be more perfect. And for that reason, I find myself reaching for this one really often. Not to mention the formula is so good on this. I mean, just look at the shine on some of these lid shades, and the mattes are so super smooth. Another really stunning palette is from Colourpop, and this is their Disney Designer Collection. It's a princess thing. This one is a little bit older. It came out, I think, 2 years ago, but I just love pulling it out in the springtime and the summer especially because, again, it just has those really soft, beautiful tones. I love the rosy tones in here. It has a nice mix of, again, warm and cool shades. It also has a great variety of different types of shades. You have some transition colors up here that are mattes. You have a couple of mid-tone shades as well. Then you also have some deeper ones. And then gorgeous, gorgeous lid colors. This one in particular is really standout, which you'll see in the swatches. And like most Colourpop palettes, the formula is fantastic. Here's that really beautiful shade thingamabob that I was talking about. It's just like so standout. It's super metallic. But I think all of the lid shades in this palette are super metallic. You don't have to wet them with setting spray to get them to really pop on your eyes, which I love as well. Next up, we have a really affordable option from CColor. This is the Frost palette, and this one is a dupe for, believe it or not, a Kylie Cosmetics holiday palette that was called Nice. She had like a Naughty and Nice collection. So this one is an exact dupe for that, but I love it because it's colorful, but they're really, really soft, easy to wear colors if you don't like a lot of color. It's not just a boring brown palette, which I really love about it. I love these warm mattes. They're perfect transition shades, and this one, again, you have that mustardy yellow like I mentioned in the California Love palette in my warm tone palette video. You have this one, which is also a beautiful crease color. This lid shade is probably my favorite in the palette. It's like a purpley gray, but if you don't want to go full on purple, it's like a really good compromise. It's not super bright. You also have a deeper one down here and then a rose gold. Actually, it reminds me a lot of the Dreamy palette from Nabla. So I'll just quickly put them side by side so you can see. It definitely has a really similar vibe going on. So if this one is out of your budget or if you just don't feel like ordering something all the way from Italy, try out this one because it's under $10. It's an amazing value. I'll leave everything linked down below also in case you want to check them out further. So here's a look at some swatches. You can really just see how soft and pretty these colors are. The mattes are very smooth. The shimmer shades are also very buttery and creamy. There's not a lot of fallout to this one. So it's another really great pick if you like these really soft tones. Next up, we have the e.l.f. New Classics palette, and this is another one that I really love for springtime because it has those really soft tones again. I especially love the greens in this palette. I think they're absolutely stunning on the lid. I also love the dusty pink colors as well, and just like the overall lighter vibe of it. You have some warmer tone transitions as well as some cooler ones down here, and then you also have some beautiful lid shades in addition to the green. You also have this rose gold one, which to me is a little bit more of like a coppery shade, but I think it's really beautiful. You also have some lighter shimmers. And formula-wise, I know that e.l.f. can be pretty hit or miss, but I really like the quality of these larger palettes. I haven't had any issues with them at all. I think they're really, really good. And then last but definitely not least, I couldn't do a Prettiest palettes video without talking about the Sigma Enchanted palette. I just got this one very recently, but I've already fallen in love with it. I think the color story is really unique. You have these beautiful rosy tones over here. You also have some greens, and this one over here is such a unique shade for my collection as well. You do have some deeper colors in this palette, which doesn't really scream spring to me, but I feel like this half of the palette is really kind of very spring-like. Not to mention that these two up here, they're actually more mid-tone shades. They look really dark in the pan, but they don't have as much color payoff as you think they would, so they're actually a little bit more on the sheer side, which I prefer. So here's a look at it swatched out, and you can see that these actually don't come off as dark as they look in the pan, which for me is a good thing because I have a lighter skin tone, but it's just something to keep in mind if you're interested in this palette, that it doesn't actually go quite as dark as you would think it would. And I just think the formula is fantastic as well. I've really gotten into Sigma's palettes lately, and I think they're a really underrated brand that a lot of people aren't talking about. So I think they're definitely worth checking into. Alright guys, so that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And also, I would love for you to check out my other videos in the Shop My Stash series. I did one on cool tone palettes and also one on warm toned as well. So I'd love to hear from you guys what you'd like to see in the next video, whether it's more colorful palettes or neutrals. I would love to hear your thoughts. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button down in the right hand corner of your screen, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys!